Hey everyone, you are tuning in to a whole nother episode of Grace in Your Space. I'm so glad you're here today. This is the show, in case you didn't know, where I yap about relationships, my adventures in Philly and beyond. I also give some commentary about my hobbies and different things going on in my life. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I'm so glad you're here. Today's episode is going to be super amazing and fabulous. I recently just had a trip to Philly, so you're going to hear about that and all the amazing cool things I did there, as well as we're going to hear about some things going on in my life. I'm officially just a month away from graduation from college, so that is really scary and awesome and amazing and all the things. So you're going to hear about that, as well as we're going to talk about some of the projects going on in my life, some of the things I'm really excited about, and I am just looking forward to sharing it all with you. So, before we get into the episode though, you know what I gotta do. I have to ask, every episode, I just give a little plug, shameless self-promo, asking you to, turn on the bell notification, maybe subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're not following my social media account, what are you doing? Check that out too, please. Every little bit helps. And yeah, that's all I have. So here's the episode. But yeah, I'm about to graduate, and I really wanted to talk about that today because I think we're just like, I'm not feeling scared, but I'm not feeling optimistic either. And I want to explore that a little bit with you because maybe if it's not graduation that you can relate to, maybe it's a career move, maybe it's something where you're about to enter a new relationship, whatever it is, like plug in your thing, insert topic here. I think it can still relate to you. So the big scary thing in my life right now is I'm about to graduate college, and the educational system is all I've ever known, right? Like I've only ever been a student. I truly feel that way. Like I did pre-K through 12th grade, and then my college years was 4.5. So I've really only ever known this educational system. And although it's become less proscriptive, meaning that I set my own schedule, I pick my classes, it's also still very regulated and regimented. And now what I'm about to enter is a whole new phase where I might not have structure for a while. I'm going to move back home, and I don't have a job lined up, and all I know is that I'm graduated. That's my new identity, is I am an ex-student. I am no longer a student. I am an alumni, and that's awesome, and I love that for me. But and it's been a lot of work and hard work, and it's been really amazing to get to this point. But being now my label in my life is on my Instagram bio, I can't say I'm a student anymore. I have to say alumni, or I have to say unemployed, or whatever that new label is. And having a new label is terrifying in some aspects, because how am I supposed to know who I am when that's all I've ever known? So that means going back to my basics, my hobbies, the things I loved. And I saw this TikTok the other day that was maybe 12-year-old me had it right. Maybe 12-year-old me who only had time for hobbies and didn't have to work and had all these great things going for them and had time to explore who they were. That was the best version of myself. And I'm not saying that's the best version of me, because I was a fucking ugly and awkward 12-year-old. But I'm saying maybe this TikTok meme thing was onto something. When we're 12 years old, we feel unlimited by the world. We don't feel the pressure of having to make money. We don't feel the pressure of having to be in a relationship or being a good friend or all these other things. When you're 12 years old, when I was 12, I crocheted all the time. I played with Legos. I did puzzles. I colored. All the creative things that I no longer have the time that I wish I had for. When I was 12, that was the shit. That was the cool thing we did. When I was 12, I used to I played music. I had creative outlets, and now this is a creative outlet for me, and I'm very thankful for it, obviously. But we don't have that same level of time that we used to when I was 12. And so now maybe I'm trying to reframe this period of unemployment and not knowing what's next as time to reinvent myself. Time to think about what's next for me and who am I going to be and what are the hobbies that I love and what are the things I want to do more of now that I'm not going to be doing schoolwork for 12 hours a day, or I'm not going to go from work to then do homework for 5 hours to then have little to no time to eat dinner, shower, do my skincare and all that, and then have 30 minutes a night to knit or scroll before I have to go to bed and do it all over again. Like that's exhausting being a student, and as much as I love being a student, I'm so ready for the next chapter, but the next chapter looks like the unknown, and the unknown is scary, and then I'm going to crash out and all these things. Like, it's... If you're not feeling that way right now, I envy you, because maybe maybe you're not relating to the part where you're not a student, but maybe you can relate to, oh man, I have a new thing going on, or I have a new relationship, I have a new hobby, a new career. There's always something I feel in your life that's this big, scary unknown. And in this season of my life, that is being post-grad, that is being an ex-student and a alumni, and now unemployed, and all those things are super, super scary. And it's not to say that I'm, again, not ungrateful. Like, I love that I got to be a student, and I love that I got to find who I am within my, like, industry and the communications world, and I got to find out what I was interested in. Like, I found my career path that I'm super passionate about and all those things. But now it no longer serves me, right? Like, school no longer serves me, but also the big unknown also does not serve me, because what do you mean I have to, like, now have a job and all that? So I think this winter is the winter of being our 12-year-old selves. Like, let's go back to what made us happy when we were 12 years old, because clearly we had it all figured out then. The world was not scary when I was 12. When I was 12, all I cared about was yarn and YouTube videos, watching 5 Seconds of Summer, like edits and things like that. Like, the things I did when I was 12 were iconic, and I think I need to go back to that maybe. Maybe not, but maybe not the, like, watching edits of shit. Like, I can make my own videos now. So I clearly had an interest in editing, but just didn't know to what capacity yet, perhaps. So, yeah, graduation, big unknown, stay tuned. But that's so exciting, because I'm going to bring you with me, and I'm so thrilled for that. I do have to confess, I still have a couple more equipment things to buy, so I don't know how much longer we're gonna, like, have regular videos, because cameras are expensive, and right now I'm loaning most of my equipment, so I'll still be on socials, but it might be a while before you have, like, another full-length video. But I do plan on continuing the podcast, because I love this so much, and the content we're making together, and knowing that, like, there's someone out there who's this relates to. Because I certainly, like, I wish I had a podcast this time of year that was talking about graduation and how scary it is, and, you know, maybe reframing it for me that the next chapter doesn't have to be that freaky and weird. It can just be a new you. And I like the me now. I just want to, you know, not be a student anymore. I want to be me, but with cooler hobbies and time for, like, my people, and actually getting to experience life not broke. And I think that's going to be amazing for all the other folks too who are going through this. And speaking of changes and life and the podcast, I like can't even contain my excitement that I'm so thankful I got to actually present and go to Philly for the podcast. So for those of you who maybe don't know a lot about me yet, this podcast project started as part of a bigger grade. I'll just say a grade for my degree program. So I've been working on this podcast project for a year and a half now, pretty much. And at this point, now that we have episodes in the social media strategy, the final part of my degree is I have to present my research and project somewhere at a conference in the industry. And so I found a conference in Philly, which we know we love Philly here. And so I had just applied on a whim to this really big conference, and I got in. And so I last week took a nice little drive down to Philly. I packed my car, packed up my nice professional attire, and I booked a big girl hotel and all the things. And I made my way to Philly, and I did 24 hours in Philly. That was it. And honestly, that's all I needed, because Philly got me fucked up. The walking was hurting my legs, because I refuse to. This is like my beige flag. It's not like a red flag. It's not a green flag either. It's just kind of like, that's kind of fucking weird, but okay. So I refuse to look like a tourist in any new city I go to. I just truly don't think it's, I don't want to be on my phone looking at Google Maps and people can tell that I'm looking at Google Maps, which I know is kind of sicko, because who's looking at me in a city full of thousands of people? Who's actually looking at me, looking at my phone and thinking, oh, she's a tourist? No one's doing that. But in my mind, in my little mind, I'm thinking to myself, people are going to know I'm a tourist, and then I'm going to be people are going to be out for me. Someone's going to try to pick at me, whatever it might be. So I got to my big girl hotel, checked into the valet. I dropped my bags down in my little, my room, and then I immediately marched back out onto the street. And I already knew, I'm like, girl, I'm not in Philly that often yet. I'd love to be there one day. I really hope that's the dream. That's the dream, is to make this a more Philly-based content podcast. But until then, you can hear about how I had already planned to hit 2 yarn stores. And I knew they were in opposite directions, but I was like, I'm going to do it. I don't mind the walk. And then I literally got in all my steps for the day in the 2 hours I was walking around. So I arrive and I get out of the hotel and I look on my phone and I'm like, okay, the first yarn store is only 10 blocks away. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, when you're going to walk a little bit, and then when you get to X Street and Y Street, that intersection, you're going to turn left, and then you're going to walk a little bit more and your yarn store will be on the right. So I did that and I found my yarn store perfectly fine. And I was like, all right, go Grace. You're killing it, right? And then I do a little bit of shopping, and this yarn store was very nice, and I would love to do a haul video, but that might have to be for another time, because unfortunately, it's not that I got a lot of yarn, but it doesn't relate to today's episode, so stay tuned for another yarn video. Anyways, so I then buy my yarn, I go and I look at my phone and I'm like, all right, the next store is about 20 minutes away. Again, it was like a straight shot. You just go walk for a little bit and then you make a left and then a right, and then I was there. So I found my next shop. And of course, this lady, she immediately knew I was a tourist. She's like, you look like you're from out of town. And I was like, what gave it away? My fucking winter coat and millions of layers when everyone else has they're super sophisticated tweed jackets, and here I am looking like I'm ready for the apocalypse and sub-degree temperatures. And she's like, well, you just look like you were on a mission today. And I'm like, well, I am. I'm visiting for the day. And I already stopped at one yarn store, and I want to purchase something here from a local dyer or local yarn. And so the employee, she's like, all right, let me see what you got. So I whip out my yarn from the first place, and she's like, that's beautiful. Here's what will go with it. She goes searching in her little boxes and all this and whips out this, and she's like, this is what you're gonna buy. And I was like, take me out to dinner first before you tell me what to do. Little I'm into that. Jesus, lady. Okay. So I'm like, okay, let's put that on the counter. Let me look around. And sure enough, I ended up doing what she told me to do, and I bought the damn yarn that she suggested. So now I have 2 beautiful little balls of yarn that I have no idea what I'm going to do with yet, but that's my thing. This. That's my thing, is I love to be in a new place or visiting somewhere, and instead of buying a t-shirt or some like thing I'll never wear or something that'll never get done, I buy yarn as a long-term souvenir that I'll make something with and remember that moment forever. And this felt pretty monumental because, again, after a year and a half of doing this podcast, and that's the reason why I'm in Philly to present about this, like, why wouldn't I buy stuff to remember this moment? Like, I've worked really hard to get here, so I'm gonna go out of budget, right? I'm gonna buy a little bit more than I probably should with my current economic status, but you know what? It's fine. I'm gonna have a job one day, and that money will come back again. And I bought the yarn she told me to buy, and then I look on my handy dandy phone, and I'm like, okay. I'd already planned out that I wanted to go to have Indian food for dinner. And I am like, all right, the Indian place is right near the hotel. I can't miss it. You know, walk a couple blocks, turn here, walk a couple more blocks, turn there, blah, blah, blah. And yada, yada, yada. That's how I found myself at Levain Bakery. Because I walked past the Indian place and just thought, I'm still walking. The Indian place must be a little bit further. And that's how I ended up at Levain Bakery. I literally just stumbled upon it, and I'm so glad I did, though, because I had been craving Levain cookies. Levain Bakery is a New York, like, renowned bakery, and now they have locations across a couple of places in the United States, but they just opened their Philly store. I remember hearing about it a couple of weeks prior. So I was like, it must be a sign, right, that I should probably get some cookies. So, the Levain cookies are known for being very thick and like a round, thick, huge cookie. So $5.75. There we go. There's a reason why I'm not a math major. Let me just say that. So each cookie was $5.75. 4 of them later, I'm walking out with like a $28 almost order. I'm like, all right, these cookies are going to be great for all my people though, right? Because if I'm going to buy these cookies, I'm going to share them with my folks. So I ended up the next day sharing, you cut them into quarters though, and each quarter is like 300 calories each. Like, these cookies are massive, but they're so fucking good. So if you ever stumble upon Levain Bakery in general, but especially in Philly, highly recommend you check that out because those cookies are so fucking delicious. And shout out to my cousin Elizabeth for introducing me to them in New York, because now I refuse to have any other kind of cookie. I mean, I have cookies, but like literally I tried it like a couple weeks ago when I was craving them. I tried like copycat recipes, and it's not the same. I don't know what they do to those cookies, but it is not the same. Like, they must put a little bit of crack or something in them, because like they are fucking addictive. And you have one, you can't go back. Like any other cookie experience, I'm like, it's not Levain. If it's not Levain, I don't want it. That's just how it is, right? So now I have my little tote bag with my cookies, and I'm going, and I'm still thinking the Indian place is just down the block. Like, I don't know why I just didn't look at my phone. But again, I'm fucking wacko, and I'm like, not gonna look at my phone. I'm just gonna go off of vibes. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm just gonna see where the fuck this Indian place is. So that's how I discovered I was gonna get Thai food for dinner, because I got tired of walking and was finally like, all right, I'm just gonna find what's the nearest place is. And honestly, my Thai food was delicious. So it was similar to what I was craving. It wasn't exactly what I was craving, but it was enough that I was pretty satisfied and happy with it. So then I walk my happy ass with my yarn, my cookies, and my Thai food, and I go back to my hotel, and I call my bestie Steph, and we're yapping about my adventures today, and she's like, girl, you're glowing, and I'm like, I know. It's the air. Or it's just the walking I did, and that's actually just sweat. It's sweat that poured off of me, but it's fine. So then I shower, go to bed, and then I wake up the next day. And again, I don't know why I just didn't learn my lesson the night prior, but I had scoped out this really like good reviewed coffee shop that was like 2 blocks from my hotel. And I'm like, I got this. Quickly look at the map, and I'm like, all right, turn here, blah, blah, blah. Put the phone in my pocket, and I'm off. And I literally walk past the coffee shop turn around as if I'm going to walk there, but then again, don't want to look like I'm a tourist and look like I'm lost. So then I keep walking straight. And that's how I ended up at a subpar coffee shop. It was okay. All I needed was some caffeine and something for breakfast. But again, like I I must be fucking crazy because I just refuse to look at my phone on the street. Like, you don't see anyone else who's a local on their phone like that, where you can clearly tell they're watching for directions and on the map. Like, everyone else who's a local who's on their phone is texting. They're not like looking at it like it's a map. So that's my beige flag. What can I say? Sue me. Like that. If that's the worst I can do in a new city, that's my beige flag, is I just refuse to look at my phone for directions. I don't think that's so bad, right? But then I went back to my hotel, packed up all my shit, got my car, moved it to the next lot for the actual conference at a different hotel, and I found my little room and I presented my little thing, and it was great. Like, I had a really good time. And that's where, again, I just feel so grateful that, like, this podcast project has taken me so far, and now it's, like, I get to do cool stuff like that, where that my university sponsors for me to go to Philly and present at a conference, right? And I feel grateful that I can, like, tell other people about the process of making a podcast, from the editing to, like, the theories I've used to the social media strategy, the content pillars, like, all of that is just super, super awesome. But one of the panelists, after we presented, it was only for like an hour 15. She's like, hey, me and my coworker are going to grab lunch. Do you want to come with us? And I literally, like, when I was done, I was done. I should have just gone home. I was coming off that high, and I was like, I'm tired. Like, it's been a really long couple of hours mentally preparing to presenting, fielding questions during the panel, like all this stuff where I'm like, I'm just tired. But my dumbass says, all right, let's go. Where are you going for lunch? And she says ramen. And in my head, I should have just declined from there. I should have just been like, I'm good. But no. If nothing else, I am stubborn to a fault, right? We've learned this now with my walking story and the Google Maps, and now this. So I stubbornly am like, yeah, sure, ramen sounds great. So she introduces me to our coworker. We decide to we go down the stairs. It's just a couple blocks away. And we sit down at a booth, and I order my ramen, and I'm looking at the menu, and they literally only have ramen. They don't have anything else that I could, like, pick up or use a fork for. And when they hand me my utensils already at my seat, all I have are chopsticks and that, like, broth spoon. And so I'm thinking to myself, Grace, when's the last time you had ramen? And A, it's been a while. But B, when I have ramen, I eat it with a fork. And I know that's bad. I know that's the most white girl shit ever. And I acknowledge that. Like, eating ramen with a fork is fucking white girl, like, to a T, right? And so now, as we're like, and I'm considering this like a networking luncheon, right? Like, I'm trying to get to know these people. They're trying to get to know me, and we're talking, and I'm like, how am I going to eat this? And then our waiter, he puts down the bowl of broth. And these ladies, I guess they must be, like, ramen experts, because they take their chopsticks and they're, like, twirling it into the broth spoon, putting it up to their mouth, and having a conversation this whole time. Me, again, you would think after years of knitting I would be, like, really good with chopsticks, but I ain't, because, you know what, it's like the pinch and all that. So I'm struggling to, like, bring the ramen up to my mouth by holding it, and I'm like bringing my head down, and I'm trying to have a conversation, eat this ramen. So now my strategy is I'm just gonna, like, sip the broth. So I'm sipping the broth, and broth is getting everywhere, all over my shirt, like, all over the table, just from, like, the slurping of the ramen. It's a mess. So I finally, like, by the time our lunch is over, we've been talking for, like, a half hour of eating time, these ladies have finished their ramen. And I have half of my bowl left. I physically could not eat it because of how scared I was to, like, ask for a fork at this restaurant, but also like make a fool of myself in front of them. And so when it's time to like settle up and pay the check, the waiter's like, do you want, like, why didn't you eat it? And I was like, oh, I'm so full. Like, I fully lied. And I was like, and I don't think I can take it with me because I didn't know how long my commute was going to be back, and I didn't think it was going to like keep, if that makes sense. And also the liquidy ramen I don't want in my car spilling somewhere. So I'm like, oh, I'm just so full out lied to these ladies, full out lied to them. And so I thanked them for ramen. But now you guys know, don't ever do ramen for a professional or even a dating sort of sit down meal. Ramen should be when you know those people well, because you know what? It's going to be a slurpy mess. You're going to get shit everywhere. And I fucking needed a fork. Again, sue me. I guess I should have known better. I just should have known better. It's me. Why would I expect anything else than an awkward lunch where I feel like I can't even eat anything, trying to have a conversation with people? That's just me, right? It's going to be fucking awkward. So then I thank them. They're like, oh, we're going for coffee. You want to join this? And I was like, I think I've overstayed my welcome. So I'm like, gotta go. I'll see you later. Thanks so much. And I grabbed my car. And where I parked, it was an hour up to 4. It was from 0 to 4 hours was $40. And then from 4 to 12 hours was $50 something. And so I thought I timed it right. But I literally, when I put my ticket in to pay, it was like, you've been here for 4 hours and 4 minutes. I was like, fuck me. Now I have to pay even more because I was 4 minutes late. I was like, you know what? I wouldn't have been 4 minutes late if I hadn't had ramen with those ladies. So just goes to show, no good deed goes unpunished in this world, especially when it's related to me, because I seem to have moments like that every single day where I try to do something to help myself or do good things for people, and I still end up getting fucked over. So what can I say? That's my life. Thanks for listening. Till next time. But no, literally, really, thank you so much for listening. I do appreciate it. That's all I really had for this week. I realized I never really talked about even my Halloween plans. And that can be another episode, because I think maybe we'll do like a senior year recap video, and I think Halloween and Halloween weekend would be really great to kind of put into that. So we're going to save that story for next time, but that's a little teaser. Spoiler, well, not to spoil, but as even more of a teaser, I was the Lorax, and boy, do I have some good stories from that. So just, if you really want to hear that, comment, and I'll make sure that senior year episode happens so you can hear about me being the Lorax and all the speaking for the trees I did. And I entered a costume contest. So if you really want to hear about that, let me know. And yeah, so as you know, I am being violently projected into graduation. It is less than a month away. I did a really cool thing at a conference, which kind of fulfills most of my degree stuff now. So at this point, we're in it for just a couple more weeks, and then that's the end of graduation, and then on to the next big great thing, which is awesome, which is so cool, and I'm so awesome, and it's fine, everything's fine. Insert the dumpster fire meme. We're good. All right, y'all, it's been real. Thank you so much for watching, listening, tuning in. I hope you had a little blast, whether you were cooking, crocheting, or just watching and actually paying attention. I appreciate you. I don't have anything else, really. I don't. So this is it. Stay safe. Have a great time this week, whenever you're watching. And till next time.